Hi everybody and welcome back to Love English. I'm Sabrah. I'm a British University English teacher. Today I've got a vocabulary lesson for you all about phrasal verbs. Oh, I know they're a bit of a headache, but they're so useful for being able to understand daily English conversations. So we're going to do 30, so make sure you have a pen and paper at the ready as you're going to need it. If you are new to this channel, then don't forget to subscribe, click that red button, and also you can follow Leila and I on our Instagram, loveenglish.uk. Okay, let's get started. So number one is to bring up, to bring something up, or you can also say to bring up. You can put the object in between the verb and the preposition or after it. So bring up is really when we introduce a new topic to the conversation. We probably haven't mentioned it before, so we're bringing it up, we're raising it. For example, you might say, I brought up the matter of my pay rise with my boss today, meaning I raised this with my boss. I mentioned it without having previously discussed it, to bring something up. There is a second meaning for bring up, but it's rather less pleasant. I'll mention it very quickly. The other meaning of bring up is to vomit. So to bring something up can mean a little bit more literally, to bring it up. Let's not talk about that anymore, shall we? Okay, number two is bring about. Bring about. Bring about means to cause or create something. For example, you might say that something brought about change. For example, the new government really brought about change in the country. For example, you might say Brexit is going to bring about a lot of changes in terms of the British economy and jobs. It does tend to be used a little bit more formally, actually, this phrasal verb, and it tends to be used about bigger situations like politics, but you can use it in daily life. So number three is to come up with something. To come up with means to think of a new idea, that a new idea has come to you. For example, you might say, I've come up with the answer to this question, or I've come up with a solution to the problem, or I've come up with a great idea for our new project at work. So all of these, you can hear that it's about thinking of something new. Number four is to come across something. To come across something means to find something accidentally. So for example, you might come across an old photo of yourself when you were a child, or you might come across a book which you've been looking for ages and had lost. To find or encounter something by accident or not intentionally looking for that thing, to come across something. Number five is to come forward. Come forward means that somebody presents themselves about something. So the police in official investigations often will say on the television, if anyone has any information about this crime, please come forward. It means please present yourself in this situation. So often it's quite an official phrasal verb. We talk about people coming forward with evidence, people coming forward with information. They're presenting themselves officially in a certain situation. Number six has two meanings, the more literal meaning and the not literal meaning. So it's cut off, to cut something off. For example, you might cut off the edge of the bread, the crusts. If you don't like eating those, you can cut those off. So that's the literal meaning. However, when we speak about cutting someone off, we mean that we cut them from our lives. We do not have contact with them anymore. So we might say she's cut her sister off, putting the object, the sister, in the middle, which we tend to do with this phrasal verb. Usually if this happens, it's for a long period of time. It's quite serious. It's not like just having a disagreement. It's a bit more serious than that. Sometimes legal things can also be discussed in this way. So we can say his father cut him off without a penny when he found out he'd committed a crime. Number seven, a little bit more positive phrasal verb. This one is turn out. How something turns out. We don't put the object in the middle here, we keep the verb and the preposition together. So turn out means the result of something, the end result of something. So we can say, oh, turned out to be a lovely day. At the beginning of the day, if it's cloudy and you think, oh, it's going to be a rainy day, but later the sun comes out and if the sun stays out, you can say, oh, it's turned out to be a lovely day. It's the final result. So we can say the party turned out to be a success. This job has turned out to be really fun, or this job has turned out to be awful. We can also use this phrasal verb as a noun. We can say there was a good turnout or a bad turnout. And this means that a lot of people or not a lot of people came to an event or a party. Number 8, get back. Couple of meanings here. Get back to somebody means to return their call, to get back in touch with them. So you'll often hear English speakers saying, I'll get back to you about that, meaning I'll return to you on this, I'll be in touch with you about this. However, there is a second meaning of get back. Get back can also mean to have revenge on somebody, to get back at, we would say here. We might say, I'm going to get back at you for this, or he's going to get back at her for that. We can also use this in a jokey way. My boyfriend loves playing practical jokes on me, and when he plays a good joke on me, I always say to him, I'm going to get back at you for that. Just you wait, I'm going to get back at you. But most of the time, I'm not as good at playing jokes, so I don't get back at him. But I'm saying it in a jokey way, meaning I'm going to get my revenge. Number 9 is to grow apart. To grow apart. To grow apart means that you were close before, close friends, or close husband and wife, or boyfriend and girlfriend, but after a while, you become distant, you change as people, and you grow apart. So you're not as close as you were before. So an example might be, my husband and I have really grown apart over the years. We're not the people we were when we first got married. Oh, it's a shame, we've grown apart. Number 10, allow for. Allow for something. Allow for means consider this, make arrangements for it, bear this in mind. So if you say, make sure on this holiday you allow for bad weather because it's often rainy, or allow for long traffic delays as there are roadworks on the motorway, it means take this into consideration, to allow for something. Number 11 is blow up. Something blows up. For example, a car blows up, it means it explodes, or a house blows up, it means it explodes. So that's the first very literal meaning. The second meaning, however, is not as literal, it can't be, but we use it to explain how we feel about something. So if somebody really gets angry and loses their temper and starts to shout and be very unhappy about something, you can say, oh, they really blew up about that. She blew up over it, or he blew up. We can even say, and this is an idiom, he blew his top about that. He blew his top, meaning it's almost like the top of his head came off. He was so angry. So to blow up about something, to get very angry about something. Number 12 is to fall out, to fall out. This is when you have an argument with a person or a disagreement and you stop speaking for a period of time. It can be a long period of time, or it can be a very short period of time. Often if you're in a couple or a marriage, you fall out and you might not speak to each other for a day or two, and then you make up and you become friends again. Some fallouts can be much longer. People can fall out for years, hopefully not, but that can happen. Leila and I do sometimes fall out, but we usually make up again very, very quickly. Number 13, to make up. So that's one of the meanings, to become friends again. However, there are a couple of other meanings as well. Make up can also be to invent, to make something up, to make it out of nowhere, if you like. So you can make up a story. It means you think of the story. You can make up a lie. You can make up a new recipe. It means to think or to create something. Don't confuse makeup with the noun makeup, which is what ladies like to put on their faces. That is a noun, makeup. We tend to not use makeup in the phrasal verb in that way. We use it as a noun. We say, I'm going to do my makeup. I'm going to put my makeup on. Number 14, to drag on. To drag on means that something goes on for much longer than you thought it would. If you say, oh, this meeting's really dragging on, or this journey's really dragging on, it means it's going on for much longer than you thought it would, and it's getting tiring and unenjoyable. To drag means to go slowly, because oh, that really dragged. To drag can also mean to pull something forcibly, like for example, you might have to drag a very heavy sofa if you want to move it. Number 15 is fall through. Something falls through. This means something is not a success. It doesn't work. It collapses, if you like. So you can say my loan application fell through. I didn't succeed with getting my loan. It fell through. The application collapsed for some reason or didn't succeed. To fall through. The sale of the house fell through. The opening of the new school fell through, meaning it didn't succeed. This is an intransitive phrasal verb, so we do not separate fall and through, we keep them together. Number 16 is ease off. If something eases off, it stops slowly. For example, you could say the rain is easing off, meaning it's slowing down, it's coming to an end. The rain is easing off. You could also say, oh, the pain is easing off. It's slowly starting to lessen. You could also talk about a very busy period in a shop or the tourist season. You could say, oh, the tourist season is easing off now. It's slowing down. It's lessening. Number 17 is to get rid of, to get rid of. To get rid of means to throw away, to dispose of. So you might say we need to get rid of all of our old clothes. We need to throw them away. We need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of the rubbish, our old sofa, anything like that. However, you can use this for a person, but if you use this for a person, it's very strong. So if you say, oh, we need to get rid of that new member of staff, she's no good, we need to get rid of that new member of staff. In this case, you mean you want to sack that member of staff. Or if you say you want to get rid of your boyfriend or girlfriend, it means you want to break up with them. Usually we wouldn't use it in that way, although some other people might. It is possible to use it in that context. Number 18 is to let down, to let someone down. This is a transitive phrasal verb, so you can actually put the object in the middle and say, I let my sister down, or I let someone down. Or you can put it after, I let down my sister, for example. So it's a transitive phrasal verb. To let down means to disappoint. If you say, oh, I've really let my parents down, it means you've really disappointed them. If your teacher says to you, you've really let me down, often we can feel very bad if somebody says this. It's not very nice to hear. I know if my parents say, Sabrah, you've let me down, I'm in trouble. Number 19 is to kick off, to kick off. And this is to start or begin, to kick off. So if you say the concert's kicking off at 9 o'clock, it's starting at 9 o'clock. This expression came from football, of course, kick off meaning the beginning of the game, but we do use it for other things as well. Number 20 is to make fun of, to make fun of. To make fun of means to laugh about somebody, to make jokes about them, to tease them, that kind of thing. Not a very nice thing to do unless you're doing it in a very harmless way. We can also say to take the mickey out of someone, which means to make jokes about them as well. I talked about that and lots of other similar idioms in my video on 20 British expressions, which is just up there. Number 21 is to nod off, to nod off. And this means to have a little sleep, often in the day. Our parents, if they're older, they might have a little nod off in their chair as they're watching the television. Or if you're a new mum, you might nod off when the baby is sleeping, things like that. To have a little sleep, to fall asleep, not necessarily intentionally. Number 22 is to own up. To own up is to confess, to say, I did it. So if you say, okay, it was me, I did that, you are owning up, you are confessing to that particular thing. Okay, next one, number 23. Number 23 is payback, payback. You'll often hear in Hollywood movies a character saying, it's payback time, or this is payback. Very similar to get back at somebody. Often we use it in a noun phrase. We often say, it's payback time. Number 24 is to rule out, to rule out. If we rule something out, so again, this is a transitive phrasal verb. So if we rule something out, we decide that something or someone is not suitable for that particular situation, or the information is not relevant, or something will not happen. We rule it out. For example, the police might rule out a suspect. They might say, no, there wasn't enough evidence. We're going to rule that person out. Number 25, to point something out, to point something out. This is a transitive phrasal verb, so you can put the object in the middle to point something out. Or you can also put it afterwards. I pointed out something. If we are pointing out something, we are telling somebody information which they think either they do not know or we think they might have forgotten. I point out to my boyfriend what an amazing girlfriend I am. He sometimes forgets it. Number 26 is to stick up for somebody, to stick up for somebody or for something. And this means to stand up for them, to defend them, or to help them if they are being persecuted in some way, or if people are being unkind to them in some way. So often we would say, I stuck up for a boy at school who other children were making fun of, or other children were picking on, another phrasal verb. Talk about that one in a minute. So this means that we've stood up and said, stop being horrible, or in some way we've defended that particular person. You can also stick up for a cause. So you can say, oh, I'm sticking up for animals, or I'm sticking up for the environment. By speaking in the local community about the plastic in the oceans, I'm sticking up for the environment, for example. So you're defending or you're protecting that particular thing. You're sticking up for them. Number 27 is to mess about or to mess around. This means to be silly, to not get on with whatever you need to do. Children will often mess around and mess about, not get on with what they need to do and be a little bit silly. You'll often hear parents saying to their children, come on, stop messing about, get on with your homework, or tidy your room. Number 29 is to hang around, to hang around. To hang around means to be at a particular place or location, but not be doing very much. So you might say, oh, that boy is always hanging around by the supermarket. I don't know what he's doing there. He's always hanging around there. Or you might say, I'm worried about my daughter hanging around with those guys. It means standing around but not doing very much. Number 29 is to tag along. To tag along. If you tag along with something, this means that you haven't necessarily been invited to a particular group or event, but you go anyway. So if you tag along, it might mean that your friends have arranged to go somewhere and you didn't actually intend to go, but later you do, and so you tag along. It's a last minute thing. Sometimes maybe you're not invited and you go anyway, and sometimes it's fine that you're there, but whatever it is, you are tagging on, meaning that you originally were not part of that arrangement, but you're going anyway. Number 30, wow, we are nearly at the end. This one is to pick on someone, to pick on someone. And this means to bully that person, to be unkind to them, or to choose them on purpose in a way that we hope might shame them. So teachers can pick on a student that they think might be a little bit lazy or not paying attention. It can also happen with adults. We can say, I feel my boss really picks on me. He's given me so much to do. I'm sure that none of our lovely Love English viewers would ever do anything like that. I'm sure you wouldn't pick on someone. It's not a nice thing to do. Okay guys, we've come to the end, 30 phrasal verbs. I'm sure you're going to hear these in daily conversations now, so listen out for them. I do have some homework for you as well. I would like you to try and use one of those phrasal verbs in a sentence and comment below. And I promise I will check your sentences and check if they are correct. Thank you so much for watching everybody, and we'll see you very soon on Love English. Bye bye.